welcome back to the Simpleton Review. I am Nate Simpleton. We've got Lem Simpleton up there and Charlie Simpleton as well. And we also have a special guest with us today. His name is Joshua Self. Joshua, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. You bet. Hey, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself? And you do a podcast, is that correct?
Yes, sir. Self Shoots from the Hip. You can find it on all platforms. You can find me on Twitter at Self Shoots.
Awesome. Sweet. Let's go ahead and check that out, everybody. We'll make sure we leave a link in the show notes so everybody can find his podcast and check that out. We are here today. We're going to be talking a little bit about the brand new album from Imagine Dragons. If you don't know who Imagine Dragons is, you've been living under a rock for the past 10 years. Because they are on their 5th studio album, and it was released September 3rd, 2021. It is, it's Imagine Dragons, right? I don't know.
Yes.
So, since Josh is our guest today, we are going to have him be the first one to talk a little bit about the album. So what was your impression of Imagine Dragons' brand new album?
Man, it was basically just like Imagine Dragons again. So if you like their stuff before,
Yeah.
then you like this. If you don't like their stuff, then you're not going to like this. It wasn't necessarily groundbreaking, but it wasn't really a letdown either. It was basically just more of the same. I feel like one of the songs, Easy Come, Easy Go, that one definitely had like a deeper meaning. Like they're actually talking about something pretty significant to them in their personal lives. But most of the album was just kind of like, it's fine. Like, it's not bad, it's not great, it's just kind of mid.
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a great synopsis. Lemuel, what about you? What did you think of Imagine Dragons' brand new album?
I'm a bit of Imagine Dragons fanboy, so I really enjoyed it because it is Imagine Dragons. There's nothing to, like, there's not anything you'd listen to this and be like, oh, that's Imagine Dragons. It's like, oh, that is definitely something they'd put out. The whole thing seems to discuss loss, some form of loss that they dealt with over this past year, and the struggles that everyone else has dealt with the past year. There's one song specifically that I didn't like as much. It was Giants. I like the rhythm to it. I like the rhythm to it a lot, but there's that bit like towards the end where he kind of
Let's just see how much he can scream. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, dude, please don't.
Much. And I like Screamo. I was just like, nah, this is not it, brother. So that's my
Yeah, I don't know what he was trying to do there, because you could tell that was incredibly difficult for him to pull off. I'm like, man, calm down. You're going to hurt yourself. You're going to bust your spleen or something there. Calm down. Whew. All right. You got anything else to say about that, Lem?
No, that's pretty much it for me.
All right. Charlie, let's move on to you. What'd you think of Imagine Dragons' new album?
Well, I am not a fan at all.
Ever?
And and the thing is, I know a couple of their major hits, and they're so repetitive, and it's like they are definitely like a theme band. I mean, they make themes, they make awesome soundtrack sounds. Definitely, it's like a modern musical to me. Everything seemed to flow and tell part of a story. The albums don't necessarily put it all together in a flow, but at the same time, it's like. It sounds really good. The production levels are so over the top. They're mixing. The mixes are fantastic. I don't get some of the themes and things just because it's like just different world. But it's definitely something everybody's got to give a spin. I mean, if you aren't a fan, you got to respect that guy's chops and his vocals. Yes. I mean, that guy will out sing. I mean, you could tell he came up. I don't know if he was in a church choir or if he was did a lot of musicals in college or high school, but man, that guy can sing.
So, of course, Imagine Dragons, their breakthrough song was Radioactive, right, back in the day, and it's been, probably a decade or so now, hasn't it? I'm losing track of time.
Yeah,
and
years.
Yeah, and I really thought that I was not a big fan originally of that song, Radioactive. I just thought it was another
pop song.
Honestly, I thought it was another white boy trying to sing hip hop music, honestly, with Radioactive. And because I didn't know anything about him, and I didn't know that was really not what their style kind of was completely. But what I do know now is that what they can do is they know how to create a hook. and every single one of their songs will get stuck in your head whether you like them or not. That's what they're good at. They know how to create a catchy beat.
They are not Linkin Park.
No, they are not, right? They are not. And the other thing they are really good at is making happy music that's really, really depressing.
Sad.
You know, if you listen to the lyrics.
Disney. But no.
Yeah. I mean, listen to the Zero from the Wreck-It Ralph soundtrack or something like that. I'm like, that is a freaking depressing song. I'm going to go take a shower now because I'm really sad, you know? But you're tapping your foot to it the whole time. You're like, and then you listen, you're like, okay, this is not good. I agree. Giants was an interesting song. I really actually did like the Dull Knives song. I thought that was an interesting song. And the lyrics to No Time for Toxic People was actually really good because there's a few of the people in my life.
Their wordplay is really good.
Yeah.
I like it.
Fantastic.
I like the No Time for Toxic People. I mean, it was kind of like more to the point, whereas some of the other ones are kind of like making these more elaborate analogies, and that one was just kind of like, we're just going to tell you this is what we're saying, just we don't have time to deal with this kind of people. So I really appreciate that one.
Yeah, me too. And he's a great poet. I do think he's a great lyricist. They're repetitive. I mean, like Charlie said, you know, the songs repeat themselves quite often. It's not as bad as a techno song, but almost. You know, I mean, it's just kind of the same, you know, beat pattern all the way through. But I didn't mind it. I mean, if you like everybody has said, if you like Imagine Dragons, you're gonna like this album. But there is nothing, as Joshua said, groundbreaking about this record at all. It is Imagine Dragons through and through. There's nothing I think I can point to that's even remotely different than anything else I've heard on any of their other albums. And that's okay. If it's not broke, don't try to fix it, right? As they say.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, let's go ahead and give our scores. So out of 1 through 5, Joshua, what would you give Imagine Dragons Mercury Act 1?
Can I give like 3.5? Is that a
you
rating?
can. 3.5 is a good rating. It means that it's above average.
Yeah, I would give it 3.5.
Right on. Okay. And what pushes it over the edge to a 3.5 for you?
It's not amazing, but it's still a good time. Okay. And I can appreciate having a good time listening to an album. Like it hits all the notes that you wanted to hit. It's just that it's something that I could listen to a previous album and still get kind of the same thing out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's a good synopsis. Thank you. Mr. Lem, what about you? What's your score?
Well, as the fanboy, I think I'm going to have to give it a 4. It's Imagine Dragons, and I really like Imagine Dragons. You know, the songs I end up liking the least are generally the songs that get played on the radio. They have a lot more interesting out there, like Dancing in the Dark is probably the weirdest Imagine Dragons song there is. And then Cha-Ching is pretty close, but I liked this whole album. Cutthroat's probably my favorite one on there. I like the intense gospel feeling to it. So yeah, it's a good one.
You know, I honestly think I like the song that's on the Arcane soundtrack.
Yes, Enemy.
It is better than any of the songs on this album. Honestly, I don't know. Have you watched Arcane, Joshua, on Netflix?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've heard the song, and I like their songs that they did for soundtracks, like the one that they did for Suicide Squad. I really like that one. So they have a great range in terms of their ability to make music that's not necessarily the generic band kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, good. Charlie, what about you? What is your score?
I'm gonna give it a 3. It's like
I was worried it was gonna be worse than that. So.
No. They have a lot of push. I may not necessarily like it, but it is worthy of a good score. At least average. I can't downplay them just because it's not my flair. Because they're exciting. They have a lot to say, and they don't hold back. Yeah. They don't pull any punches when they want to give you some. Even if it's bad news, they're going to give you the bad news too. So
yep. That's accurate. That's good. I'm going to give it a 3 overall as well. I mean, I have to think. Look, I'm going to probably put some of these songs on my playlist. I mean, they're good enough to get on there. And I always seem to compare them to some of the the worst albums that we've reviewed for this over this course of this year, and of course I always have to pick on the Biebs because that Justice album. We reviewed the Justice album, and it was terrible. I don't know. I still cannot to this day figure out why he put a bunch of Martin Luther King quotes on that album, because I'm like, there ain't nothing about justice on this album except for your Martin Luther King Jr. quotes. Why are you calling it Justice for? Good gracious, man. Yes. It was I don't know. Anyway, so 3, I've got a 3, so we got a 3, 3.5, 4, and a 3. Unfortunately, Imagine Dragons, I apologize, but your album does not make the Simpleton certified list. But it is worth a listen, and I encourage you guys all to go and check out Imagine Dragons' brand new album. And if you like it better than we did, at least those of us who aren't such a fanboy, Lim, then tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear you. If you think we're idiots, that's fine. We are. We know that. Except for Joshua. He's cool. But if you hated it, let us know that too. You think we were too generous? Let us know that. We'd love to have it. If you want to check out more about us, you can find us at simpletonreview.com. You'll find all of our videos and link to our audio podcast if that's more up your alley. And you can also find links to our Discord if you want to join our Discord channel, and links to all of the articles that we write about music and movies and video games. Most of that's from Lemuel, but he loves his video games, so you can talk about video games. And Mr. Joshua, why don't you tell us again where they can find your podcast and what it's all about?
So my podcast is Self Shoots from the Hip, and I mostly just talk about cultural issues, like things that are going on right now, a lot of pop culture, a lot of Black culture, and where they intersect that gray stuff in between. Mm-hmm. You can find me on Twitter at Self Shoots, and I'd love to hear from you guys.
Sweet. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will make sure that we put all the links in the show notes, both on the YouTube video and on the audio side, so they can reach out to you and get a hold of you. And again, we thank you so much for you joining us and sharing your opinion about Imagine Dragons' new album. It's been an honor having you on our show today.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great.
All right, man. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. And you guys, too, out there in Simpleton land and beyond, you guys have a great week. We'll see you next time on the Simpleton Review. Bye-bye.